Hello folks, welcome to the Rockwood Mountain Gardener. Today is February the 25th and we're going to plant just a few potatoes. I always like to experiment and push the limits, so I'll take you on this journey. Okay, here's the potato bed, and what I have is I have straw that's been decaying all winter on this bed. This bed is 4 by 8, and I had potatoes in it last year, but I always keep it covered up during the winter time, and I put straw, and it's been decaying. So here I'm pulling the straw back, and these potatoes that I'm planting are red potatoes. They were homegrown by a local farmer here. I didn't raise enough, and I don't raise enough to sustain us, but these were just a few that I had left over, and I put them, I done an experiment, and just to see that they wouldn't rot, I took and put them in sawdust. I had a little container, and I just buried them in sawdust just to see if it slow down on the sprouting of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the potatoes, and I'm going to take and lay them on top of the ground. Here I made 2 labels for them. It's the number 1, which is the first planting of the 2019 season. I've got this bed right here. I'm planting 1 row. There's 10 potatoes, and there's actually 2 different beds, but they're connected. That's the reason I've got 2 labels. But what I do is I'll place these potatoes on top of the ground, and then I'll take and put the eyes of them facing up, and I've speeded this up just to save some time here. And what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll put compost on top of these. And this compost I just sifted with a 1/2-inch screen just this morning. So the compost I'll take and just pour it right on top of it. And it worked real good last year, so we're going to see how it works this year. The compost is real rich, and when I was pulling this straw back, there was worms everywhere. They was working on the decaying straw and everything. That ground was just moist. Now, we had just had several inches of rain day before yesterday. A lot of people can't even get in their garden. But since I do no-till, no dig, you see I'm planting potatoes. It's not muddy. It's not too wet. And I'm planting on top of the ground. Right here I'm raking the straw back over top of the compost. Just keeps, what it does, it keeps the ground moist, and the potatoes will come up through it, hopefully this spring. So what we'll do is we'll keep track of this. Now here I'm going to be planting some onions. I've got some onions plants that I got from a local store. Now the vendor, I'm not going to say who the vendor was. The store where I picked these up had 2 different crates. One of them was Walla Walla, and the other was Georgia Sweet. Well, the customer in front of me picked up a bottle and from the one crate and put it into another. Well, that got me a thinking, okay, what do I actually have? Since the bundles were not identified with labels on them, they just from each crate it had just said onions. It didn't identify by any brand like Walla Walla or Georgia Sweet. Now what I've done is I raked the leaves back, and I added some compost, and I am planting these onion plants. I think there's 15 of them. I'm planting them directly in the compost that I added. So actually I didn't dig in the ground. I just raked these leaves back and added compost on top, and I put the onions in the compost. Now here what I'm doing is I'm taking the leaves and I'm putting them back around the onion plants. Now these onions should be, they should get very, a good size. Not real big, but they should get a good size. And I'm not going to pick these as greens. I'm going to take and keep these as onions that to make bulbs with. Here I'm showing you my kneeling pad. I've had this about 2 or 3 years now. It's just a piece of wood with a outdoor carpet on it. Fixing to plant some broccoli. I'm fixing to put 2 plants in the ground. The broccoli was bought at a local big box store, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try an experiment. Now it is not time to put out broccoli. It's a little bit too early, but I like to push the limits on it. Now what I'm doing is I've kind of moved the soil back a little bit and put the plant in there, and broke off some bottom leaves just so they don't get buried, and I put some compost in the hole around the plant. Now here I'm adding wood ashes to the hole. The wood ashes keeps the worms from getting around it. Cutworms don't like wood ashes, so that's one way how I keep the cutworms from working on my tender plants. Here what you see is I'm taking a 2-liter Coke bottle. I cut the bottom out of it, and I'm putting on top of one of them. The other one I'm just raking leaves around it, and we'll put some more wood ashes around that just to make sure that the cutworms don't get to it. And I'm adding the label. This is number 3 in the garden. The onions was number 2. This is number 3. Now I'm fixing to plant a couple of cabbage plants. The broccoli was lieutenant, and the cabbage is stonehead. It makes a real good head. It's not a real big head, but it's small and it's firm, and it's just perfect for us. I'm putting 2 plants, doing the same thing with them. Just raking back the leaves and just moving the soil back just a little bit and putting the plant in there, and I'm adding compost to the as you see, I'm getting it from that bucket right there to the soil, to the hole right there. And I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to take and put a stick in the ground and put a 2-liter bottle over one, and the other one I'm going to take and just leave out in the open. Raking the leaves back around it, and put a label in it. And the lettuce, not the lettuce, but the broccoli was number 3, and the cabbage number 4. Thanks for watching the Rockwood Mountain Gardener. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and as always, happy gardening.